If you have gotten the PageSpeed Insights recommendation to reduce initial server response time, this video will show you the fix today. Reducing the initial server response time means that you should lower the site's time to first byte, or what's known as TTFB. Now, TTFB refers to the amount of time it takes for a browser to create a connection to the server and start downloading a web page's contents. So let's start off this video by understanding what is time to first byte. Well, Google defines time to first byte as a period of waiting. To put it simply, TTFB is the amount of time from the moment you navigate to a web page to the moment it starts rendering, which is the moment that you'll start seeing some content being displayed on your screen. And within TTFB, there are three separate components: the time that it takes to send the HTTP request, the time that it takes to process the request, and the time it takes for the server to send back the first byte of the response to the browser. And when you can work with these three components to reduce TTFB, you will have an improved user experience with users spending less time waiting for your site to load. And with that, users are less likely to bounce, resulting in higher engagement and higher retention. Now, you may be wondering, well, what is a good time to first byte? And Google recommends a TTFB under 200 milliseconds. And it's important to note that the Lighthouse audit fails when the browser waits more than 600 milliseconds. Google also recommends that sites should process user actions and inputs within 50 milliseconds to ensure a visible response within 100 milliseconds. And for the actions that take longer than 50 milliseconds to complete, always provide feedback. An example, display a loading indicator or change the color for the active state. So now that you know the speed, what exactly can cause a slow TTFB? Well, there can be several factors such as network latency, high web traffic, server configuration and performance, dynamic content, and DNS response time. Now, there isn't much you can do to solve high web traffic or network issues, but there are ways to address the other causes. Now, before we get into the 9 ways we're going to show you to reduce the TTFB, let's talk about how you can properly measure it. 4 tools that we recommend for you to measure your TTFB are as follows: GTmetrix, Web Page Test, Pingdom, and KeyCDN's web performance tool. And then once you know your score, we can start improving it by using these 9 tips. Number 1, use a fast web host. Using a fast web host that has a carefully thought through architecture will go a long way in reducing your TTFB. With hosting, for example, if most of your users are located in Europe, it would make the most sense to host your site in Europe and not the United States. Although this is something that you can get around with using a CDN, which is another tip that we will cover later on in this video. Number 2 is to use caching. What caching will do is it will help to reduce the server processing time, which will decrease the TTFB. Also, a quick tip here is to check with your web host to see what kind of caching they will offer you. Often, all you need to do is ask your host to simply enable it. Now, another alternative is with using our plugin WP Rocket to cache your pages on your site, so that way your pages are delivered faster to returning site visitors. Number 3 is to use gzip compression. By applying gzip compression, you'll reduce the size of HTML, CSS, and JS files. And then as a result, the resources will download faster and you'll reduce the TTFB. Once again, look into your hosting provider, as some hosts will actually enable gzip compression by default. And then once again, as an alternative, our plugin will also apply gzip compression on sites running on Apache. All you have to do is simply enable it. Number 4 is to optimize your database. A database containing too much unnecessary data will affect your server's response time. So you should optimize your database's size and run regular cleanups. Our plugin, WP Rocket, gives you an easy way to optimize your database, reduce bloat, and schedule automatic cleanups. Number 5 is to use a CDN. Using a good quality CDN like Rocket CDN can help you deliver your static content like images and scripts faster to users via a network of servers that are worldwide. This means that if your server is located in Europe, for example, and most of your users are from the United States, they will still receive your site's content from a server location that is closer to them. By using a CDN, you will reduce the network latency between your site server and your visitors. Number 6, keep WordPress, plugins, and themes updated. Sometimes these updates may contain changes that optimize the queries that their code runs to the database, or made updates that affect the PHP's code efficiency. And also, don't forget that it's best practice to only keep the plugins and themes that you need and to delete the rest. Number 7 is to reduce queries. Often the number of queries your site runs to get information from the database can affect TTFB. Now, to help identify any query bottlenecks, try install installing a diagnostic plugin like Query Monitor, or consider a more heavy-duty tool like New Relic. New Relic will help you find queries that are the most time-consuming or have the slowest query time. So that way you can find which plugins, themes, or settings are affecting your site's page speed. Number 8 is to use a Premium DNS service. With typical hosting packages, they usually don't offer Premium DNS, although some managed WordPress hosts do. Now, using a Premium DNS provider will ensure DNS queries are answered with low latency by using a global network of DNS servers, in turn helping to reduce your TTFB. And if you want to take this a step further, consider enabling DNS prefetching on your site. This technique lets you tell the browser to perform DNS lookups on a page in the background while the user is browsing. And number 9, do not forget the latest version of PHP. Using a 7+ PHP version will also improve your time to first byte if you didn't know. To give you a straightforward answer, PHP 7+ can handle almost 50% more requests per second. So if you are still on PHP 5.6, it is definitely time for an upgrade. And there you have it. Those are our 9 tips to reduce your time to first byte. Now, if you are looking to improve any other PageSpeed Insights messages, check out our fully dedicated playlist by clicking right here. Goodbye and have a good day.